Hey guys, and welcome to another cast from Pixelated Entertainment. I am the Mish King, and today we are here on Neo. Well, actually, this is not. Actually, yes, it is Neo Planet S. What is wrong with me? For a second, I was just tripping out a bit, and it is again between Rice Zero versus Root CatZ. CatZ, the leader of Root, one of the most awesome cats on the internet, and I think the only one which knows how to play StarCraft 2 and forgot a lot of gas. I do believe he might be referring to the previous game, and that ended up being his downfall. And I'm not sure whether he realizes that this is CatZ, and you had a really strange opener. I did last game, and yep, that was it. And yes, indeed, that was quite a strange opener. It looked like he was going to go for Reapers, then it looked like he was going to go for Widow Mines, then he went for immediate Hellions, and that was really kind of odd because Hellions do not cost gas. Even though their flamethrowers do require gas, so I'm not sure which universe this game is taking place in. And what are we having here? A somewhat safer opening from Zero, going to be throwing out the first supply depot at the ramp, and it looks like Root CatZ is... I do believe he's going to be moving. Nope. That was actually Zero moving his own SCV just to throw down the barracks. And what is Root CatZ doing? He's floating on 15 minerals. Should be seeing a 15 hatch or possibly a very early pool. And yep, going to go for that 15 hatch immediately. Timing it virtually perfectly so that by the time the drone is here, he should have enough time. Nope, just a little bit earlier, but that's not a really biggie. And meanwhile, Root CatZ did get into Zero's base, just scouting out everything. And now just gonna leave. He did see the early gas, so we're possibly gonna be seeing some Reapers this time, or possibly a weird reactor opening into Hellions. Not sure what that's about, whether it hasn't been refined yet, because until a Terran really refines his strat, it will usually fall in its face. But once it is refined, it can be very, very potent. Root CatZ not really opting for his extractor right now. Kind of lost my train of thought there. Sorry guys for that. And nope, just gonna go for immediate marine right now. Not sure if we're gonna see the factory again. Really curious to see what the real general idea is between that strat. And yes, we are seeing a factory play. Will we see a 1-1-1, the Destiny Cloudfist build where you make a barracks, a factory, and a starport? Or will we see something like the last game which went horribly wrong and where Suppy just very easily took the win, took the W, and yep, Root CatZ playing, kind of living in the danger zone, not going for any gas, completely has faith in his own micro, but I swear man, Reapers can just be so very bothersome. But I do believe this might just be a practice match between two friends, or just a random game, and I do believe Root CatZ possibly was one of the observers in the last game, as he did say that the opener was pretty strange. Not sure whether he's still referring to the last game or whether it was another game, but yep, it's pretty good, pretty good. Some lings now moving across the field. These are very slow lings, pretty much running backwards at this point. I'm used to lings sprinting across the field at the speed of light, and it looks like CatZ does get some nice vision, does see the expand. Queens are now up on the field. Will we see a third base by CatZ, or will we just see some gas, some safe play, and some additional queens being made? Yes, we do have an additional queen in the main being made, and oh, it looks like some of these lings gonna do some horrible damage. One marine does go down, but another ling does go down. Root CatZ going for the mutated skin. Mutated skin kind of cool. It looks like Root CatZ is doing a lot of damage actually. He has killed a couple of marines, now going after this SCV, but the alien is on the field. Root CatZ really wants to kill the SCV, and he does. So the Zergling effectively pays for itself. Well, no, the Zergling does get into the main, but for some reason turns back. Root CatZ had a great opportunity to see what's up in the main, but he did do quite a bit of damage. He delayed the command center, he killed a couple of marines, and he also delayed the supply depot, so that is quite a bit of damage. Going for 4 gas right now. Root CatZ is like, screw it man, I'm gonna go high-tech tier man, enough of the Stone Age. And also floating in a random Overlord just to get a little bit of a peek. Overlord does have a lot of extra vision rather than the command center. And let's see, what are we going to see from Root CatZ, who's now on 33 drones. Quite firmly in the lead, although mules are pretty darn good, especially once the orbital command is done transforming in the natural. It's a really nice looking decal. I do believe this is the Akali. decal of Protoss, not entirely sure, and it looks like Laratech is on the way. Could possibly be seeing some Muta play. Muta play can be very good, but also it's a double-edged sword, as Widow Mines can just devastate a Mutaflock very easily. But even if you do take a single hit, you could just fly your Mutas back if it's still alive. Not sure if it survives. How much damage do these puppies do? I do know that they do about 35 damage of splash, but I'm not entirely sure how much damage they do in terms of raw damage. I do believe they can kill a Muta in one go. And it looks like right now the Overlord is being sacrificed to just see what's up. He does see the additional command center. He knows that the Terran player will want a macro, and seeing that CatZ throws down his own turret. And yeah, just floating Overlords pretty much everywhere. Got some nice vision. Although there's still a bit of a gap here and a bit of a gap here. But right now he knows exactly what position the Terran is in. And I'm really curious to see, will CatZ actually go for a Spire or not? And CatZ actually slipping on his macro in the main, now realizes that the macro has in fact slipped. And yes, there we go, Spire is now on the way. Should be seeing a lot of harass, some Ling Bling Muta is still pretty good. And this Overlord has actually survived quite a bit. And it does get a nice scout and does see that the Terran player is in fact going for mech play. Getting those a lot of factories up, and just the one armory for now, but we should be seeing additional armories being made. And yep, Infestation Pit now being thrown down, possibly for some Swarm Hosts. Swarm Hosts are pretty good against mech. Not excellent, but pretty good. Nice bit of support for your army, kind of what a Swarm Host should be doing. And interesting enough, the Zerg skins are actually two different strains of Zergs that you do get in the multiplayer. One is the Raptor strain, and this other one, well, of course, this is the Raptor strain. The other one is a strain of Zergling that pops really, really fast, and you can make 3 at a time. Bit of a spoiler there if you guys haven't played the multiplayer, but you should really play the multiplayer then. And just the one engineering bait thrown down, just probably to make sure that he can get some of those crucial turrets up and running, so that those Mutalisks don't do that much significant damage. But we do see the 5th and 6th gases have been taken, the Spire has popped, and a lot of Infestors are being made. Some old school style play, Infestor, Muta, Ling, I guess, actually range attack as well. Not really sure what exactly Root CatZ is tinkering around with right now, but here comes the transformation servo upgrade. Should be seeing some morphing time for these Hellions, and Hellion Thor can be a really good combination in this matchup. But if you get locked down by Infestors, then you can theoretically be infinitely fungal growth down. And it looks like Infestor Swarmo seems to be the way of the land right now, and if they get caught in Hellbat mode, these Hellions could actually melt, because I do believe that the Swarm Hosts just barely might be able to outrange the Hellions when they are in Hellbat mode. And when they're also in Hellbat mode, they move a lot slower. They do gain additional HP, and they do become really awesome against melee units like Zerglings and even Zealots. And that's one of the reasons why they cannot benefit from the Blue Flame upgrade when they're in Hellbat mode as of the current patch, that is. And it looks like the third has been established. This is going to be a bit of a worry, and we could possibly be seeing some Widow Mines being laid down at the back to ensure that there won't be any Ling run-bys. The Ling run-bys can be pretty devastating. Here come the Swarm Hosts, and one thing which really bothers me is look how many eggs are actually on the back of Swarm Hosts, and they only really pop 2 eggs at a time, instead of all the eggs, or at least 4 of them. Would have been cool, but I guess that would be broken. Roach Warren is on the way. Could be seeing a Roach reinforcement counter-attack, and additional Swarm Hosts being made as well. Could possibly be seeing the +2 upgrade on the range for Zerg, and just tanks being made right now. Tanks is really good in Heart of the Swarm, as they do not need to research siege tech. They have siege right out the gate, folks. And it looks like we'll be seeing some Viper play, as a lot of additional evolution chambers are being made. No, the evo chambers are just to be made to make sure that there will not be any Hellion run-bys. Very nice move from our... Ooh, snap, that little bit of misstep by me, as I just lost my train of thought watching these majestic locusts walk across the map. And I meant by, of course, the blue Zerg player, CatZ, and looks like CatZ is getting ready for some action. He doesn't want to needlessly take damage, and look at how much damage these locusts do, and he's just running away. It's like, don't come near me. And more locusts are being made. The enduring locust upgrade is also being made. And it looks like Root CatZ is trying to find some angles of attack, dropping down some Evo chambers along with some spines. Interesting bit of SimCity here from CatZ. And it looks like the Terran player at that about 150, 160 mark. Looks like he wants to make a play happen. Terran players seem to really want to make plays happen when they're at about this supply. Swarmos are being burrowed. Yes, a couple of fungals. One really nice fungal catches a lot of units, and here come the boom in the sense of siege check. And now these Swarmos are kind of rendered useless. CatZ a bit late on burrowing those out. And here comes a Nidus Worm as well. Enduring Locust nearly done. Oh, these Swarmos have gone right into the belly of the beast. They've gone way too deep. And a lot of these Vipers do have full energy. And the Swarmos is going to be caught out. More Swarmos everywhere. Quite a bit of a slip from CatZ. And it looks like, oh, CatZ has actually mind controlled a lot of units. Oh, he's fungal growth so many units. He could actually kill a lot of these units. But no, the mind control does wear off. And it looks like CatZ with a significant slip in micro. And Zero looks like he will take the W this game, as there's very little that CatZ can do. This massive siege line has been set up, and Locusts are not really good against siege, even though Blizzard did advertise that they could be good against siege. They are just not that great against this much siege, at least. And it looks like the +2 range has finished, but there's just not much that CatZ can do. There's just so many Hellions and Hellbats, actually. And it looks like some nice blinding clouds do go down, rendering a lot of these tanks useless. And random ass Nidus Worm out of nowhere. A lot more blinding clouds do go down. And it looks like this one Viper was caught completely out of position. A scan does go down. A lot of these tanks aren't shooting, but a lot of them actually are on the south. And it looks like that is all she wrote. Zero does actually take the game, but as you can see from this timer, which I accidentally forgot to close, there still is quite some time left in the game. I do believe CatZ is trying to make something happen. The question is, what is he going to try and make something happen? As Zero is slowly strangling him to death. There's not much that CatZ can do on this sort of tech, and slowly but surely getting closer and closer. Some nice blinding clouds do catch a lot of tanks, and it looks like CatZ will do some damage with some of these locusts, and a lot of locusts from the north as well. And it looks like somehow, some way, the Thors have actually been cleaned up, but more and more units are being brought in. Scans should be going down, but no scans as of yet. Viper is being used very effectively by Root CatZ, buying himself so much time and making him have a fighting chance at the moment. And Queens have been brought in. Queens taking terrible supply. Oh, just terrible splash damage. I was about to say supply damage, but there is no such thing as supply damage. And it looks like there's a random Nidus Worm to the south. Root CatZ really is desperate to try and stay in this game. Vikings have just been made in case, just to pick off Vipers, just to pick off, you know, just any sort of Broodlords that might have actually been coming out secretly, but there are none to be had, just Vipers. And now the Vipers have been rendered useless. A lot of these Swarmos are in the south, actually, but they're just not, there's just too much splash damage, to be honest. And the tanks, oh, one tank does get caught horribly, and this one Viking, I do believe this is the brother of the Viking from those Heart of the Swarm trailer, and it looks like CatZ is desperately trying to hold on, but it looks like the Vikings are raiding his base over here, and all the Vikings are just tore apart all of the drones. And it looks like this should be all she wrote. CatZ is still trying to make some plays happen with all of his swarm hosts, but he just can't really do much. And now establishing a base on the north left-hand side, establishing a goal base. I do believe he's just staying here for the lulz, possibly. Additional drones have been morphed and now have been melted by all these Vikings. And Vikings are actually proving to be very dangerous. And so many Thors just doing so much damage. The Swarm hosts are still trying to make something happen, and Swarm hosts is actually pretty good because it does force the Terran to use quite a bit of scans, so if you spread them out effectively, you can just force them to have to sacrifice a lot of mules. And here comes the Swarm host to pick off the Vikings. The Viking attack, the raid has actually finished, but it looks like the hive will go down, and Hellions and tanks have now I do believe the Terran does realize there is a base over here. No, just his 6th sense went off, and it looks like he will pick off this this soon to be ninja expand that will not be so ninja anymore. But these drones are just in fear for their lives right now. The Terran Dominion never looked this scary. So many planetary fortresses being made at the center of the map. A lot of command centers being made. The Terran can actually afford to sack a lot of his SCVs just to get a ridiculous supply lead. Oh, the Swarmos get obliterated. Completely caught out of position. And that with that, CatZ does GG out. And that is the end, guys. Hope you enjoyed the replay. Do like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Pixelated. And I'm the Mish King, and I have one more replay featuring Zero. Actually, no, I have no more replays featuring Zero. I do believe I have casted all of them. That is all the replays for today, guys.